Hola, ¿qué tal? My name is Jose Flores. I'm a professor of social anthropology at the University of Baja California in Tijuana. And today I'm here to talk to you about El Día de los Muertos, the great celebration of the Day of the Dead in Mexico. All the cultures in the world celebrate this day at different dates, but in Mexico we have this big celebration on the 31st of October, the 1st of November, and the 2nd of November. La celebración del Día de Muertos, this celebration of the Day of the Dead, is a wonderful way of expressing the feelings of the Mexican culture. The New American Museum in San Diego has celebrated the dead for the last 6 years. First of all, we have an altar de muertos for Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth was from Tijuana. She was Margarita Cancino. And then she became a very famous movie star. We also had an altar or celebration for Cantinflas. We also celebrated the Mexican wrestlers that have created a wonderful world of wrestling in Mexico. We also celebrated Rufino Tamayo. And we celebrated Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz. This year, we are celebrating all the victims of COVID-19. As you know, the Altar de Muertos has several ingredients. And these ingredients are, number one, it has to have different levels. It could be 3 levels, 5 levels, 7 levels, or 9 levels. That is, it could be a table over another table and another table and another table. They have to be uneven. Don't ask me why, but that's the tradition. Some people say that when you have 3 levels, you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or you might have the virtues, faith, hope, and charity, or you might have heaven, hell, and purgatory. This year, we will be celebrating the COVID-19 victims, and we will have 5 levels. We'll start at the bottom level. The bottom level will have a dog, will have a little path made out of marigold, cempasúchil in Spanish. Cempa means death in Nahuatl, which is the language spoken by the Aztecs, and xochitl means flower. So cempasúchil are the flowers of the dead. We have a path, and this path has candles alongside. And this is to welcome the spirits of those that are visiting the altar at home or that are joining us in the cemetery. There are two main ways to celebrate the dead. One is at home and the other one is in the cemetery. In the cemetery, first of all, there are no levels, there is only one level. And the family goes the day before, cleans up the area where they are going to have dinner with the spirits, and the day of the death, they come and they bring dinner, have dinner, light the candles, and bring a lot of flowers. So we go back to the celebration at home, and NAM, the New Americans Museum, is a home. So we celebrate there this day in 5 levels. The first level, as I mentioned, will have this flower path, and we have an arch. The arch is to welcome these souls that are coming to earth in a triumph way. So the children will arrive on the first, adults on the second, and those that have died out of non-natural causes, in other words, those that have committed suicide or have been killed by somebody else, will come on the 31st. So we have the first level, and then I mentioned we have a dog, and then we have a river, because the souls will need a dog to cross the 3 rivers just in case they don't know how to swim. And there is money also, and there are candles. The money in there is for the souls to pay the dog for helping them cruising the river. There are also keys. The keys are in case the souls need to open something, they will find keys. It is interesting that there is also the lighting, and the lighting is to allow the souls to see everything that is around. So we go to the second level. In the second level, we have all kinds of fruits, vegetables, and food. And we have a lot of things that are sugary. We have sugar cane, we have candy, we have typical Mexican candy, and many fruits, as I mentioned. This is in case the souls are coming from a place that is not very happy, and they need all these fruits to enjoy the happiness of earth. We are in the second level. Third level, we have more food. We have the food that the souls love. Mainly, in this case, it will be very international. But if it were a Mexican home, they would have mole. In Oaxaca, there are 5 different types of mole. Mole is the wonderful food prepared with turkey and chicken. And they would have also dessert, such as arroz con leche, or in Michoacan, chongos zamoranos. So we have all this food, the one that the souls will enjoy. And then we'll have the tortilla and tacos, and from Oaxaca we'll have enchiladas and carnitas, etc. And we have el pan de muerto. El pan de muerto is essential for this celebration. As you know, when the Spaniards came, Mexico was completely a maize civilization. And the Spanish brought with them wheat. And from then on, we have the pan. And then in the Mexican tradition of the Day of the Dead that was celebrated by all the different Indian tribes in Mexico, we find a new situation that is called cultural syncretism. And this cultural syncretism consists in uniting the Indian traditions that they had their own cosmovision with Christianity and with the customs of the Spaniards. The Spaniards brought grapevines, olive trees, and other things, horses, and wheat. So el pan de muerto is very Spanish, and also another syncretism that happened in Spain. The bread for the dead is prepared not with milk or water, but it is prepared with orange blossom tea. It is interesting that the Arabs were in Spain for 7 centuries, from 711 to 1492, when Christopher Columbus made his trip to the New World. Now, you'll see in the altar a lot of paper cuttings. The paper cuttings are from China. When you visit China or you have a Chinese celebration, you find a lot of paper cuttings. But in Mexico, they become very colorful. So paper cuttings are Chinese. And then you'll see a piñata in the altar. The piñata is to welcome the children. And the Mexican candy are also for the children. We could say that there are a couple of hypotheses that the Chinese or people from Asia came to the New World not from the Atlantic but from the Pacific Ocean. They crossed the Strait of Bering about 40,000 years. They arrived in Alaska, and then they went down by the coast, and then they settled all the way in what we know today, Baja. And then they crossed from Baja to Sinaloa, today's Sinaloa. And then you have cities such Mazatlan, Culiacan, and a lot of cities that finish in An, which is Azteca, Nahuatl. So we believe that the Aztecas started their settlements in Sinaloa all the way down to the center of Mexico. So you can see the syncretism in the altar of Muertos. The Chinese, the Arabs, the Spaniards, and the Indians in Mexico. There were about close to 80 different Indian tribes in Mexico by the time the Spaniards came. But the most important ones were the Mayans and the Aztecas. El pan de muerto is color blue because the Mayans used to paint those that were sacrificed to the gods in color blue. It is painted in the area where the Aztecas used to live in Mexican pink because the Aztecas used to paint in pink those that were sacrificed to the gods. It is very interesting that in different regions of Mexico, the pan de muerto has different colors, different sizes, and different shapes. In the state of Michoacán and in the state of Guerrero, the pan de muerto is also made in little figures of human beings, female and male. And then the pan de muerto, as I mentioned before, since it is a syncretic element, it has on top of it figures of finger bones or bones. It is interesting to notice that because a lot of people buy the pan de muerto and they don't realize that supposedly the bones of the dead are on top of the bread. Okay, so from here we go to the calaveras of papier-mâché. The papier-mâché is also another syncretic element. The papier-mâché, as you know, is French. It comes to Mexico with the French to start doing papier-mâché work, and then since they noticed that the tradition of the Day of the Dead is so big, they start making the large calaveras, skeletons of papier-mâché. Then at one time in Mexican history, we have a wonderful man called Jose Guadalupe Posadas. Jose Guadalupe Posadas was from Guadalajara in the state of Jalisco. And then he loved Mexico. You know, he was an artist, and he created La Catrina. La Catrina today in modern Mexico is another one of the symbols of El Día de los Muertos. And La Catrina was created to make fun of those that pretend to be rich and don't have any money. As you know, unfortunately, there are people in the world that think that they own and possess everything, and when they get home, they have nothing. They dress like queens and kings, and when they get home, they don't have even chairs where to sit down. And they call them Catrinos and Catrinas. And why? Because in Mexico, when you have someone that doesn't have money but pretends to have money, it's called Muerto de Hambre. So the association of La Muerte, the Day of the Dead, and La Catrina and El Catrín is another situation that is cultural and anthropological and interesting. So now you know that if somebody calls you Catrín or Catrina, it means you're dressed well, but you don't have anything. And also, we find in this offering or altar or ofrenda, we find a lot of candy made in the shape of skulls. These calaveras, calaveritas, all sizes, all colors, made out of sugar. Remember, as I said before, we have to have a lot of candy, a lot of sugar. As a matter of fact, we have even honey in there, along with bites of sugar cane for the souls that might need energy or might need happiness from sugar. So in Mexico, it is a tradition to buy calaveritas for the wife, the girlfriend, the teacher, your friends, and you can have their names. So calaveras, but don't eat them because today maybe it would not be good to eat them, but they are edible. A lot of kids give to their friends calaveritas. Okay, we go to the next level. The next level, whatever the profession of the person was, it is, remember, if it was a doctor, you have utensils that were used by doctors, dentists, if people were mechanics, people from agriculture. In this case, the victims of COVID-19 in the world, in the United States, come from all fields, even children. So in that level, you put things. We have a lot of books in there, a lot of instruments, and things that were used by maybe these people that we're celebrating. And then there is another level, the fifth level, that is dedicated to the philosophical or religious beliefs of the souls. We have the three main religions, Judaism, the Muslim religion, and Christian. We have the menorah to celebrate the Jewish people that have died. We have the prayer pad or rug and the Holy Quran. For the Christians, we have the Holy Bible, the two Bibles, the Protestant and the Catholic, and a crucifix. And then we also have a symbol that represents all religions and faiths, and also very good wishes for those that don't have any faith. So there we are the 5 levels of the Altar de Muertos with a lot of candy, with a lot of flowers of cempasúchil and other flowers, with a lot of fruits and vegetables, with a lot of different toys and different utensils that people use for work. Also, things that people use to worship. Very practical things like the dog that is going to help those that are about to cross the river that doesn't know how to swim. And also, we have some papier-mâché calaveras. They are using the dresses or the vestments typical of Mexico, typical of the state of Oaxaca and Michoacán. The girls are dressed for the Guelaguetza, and in Michoacán for el baile de los viejitos, the old man dance. The Altar de Muertos, we know in Mexico that the souls do not come neither the 31st or the 1st or the 2nd. They don't come because they are already here. They are 365 days a year in our minds, in our hearts. They are with us all this time. Altar de Muertos. A lot of symbolism. The petals, they tell us how fragile is life. There is one more thing that is important to mention that is called the saumario. The saumario, you put charcoal in there, then you can use copal or incense, and that is to bring this wonderful smell along with the cempasúchil and to give a rest to the souls with the incense and give him a certain touch of divinity. So, Altar de Muertos, remember, it's done at home. You don't eat your own food in your own altar. You go to your neighbors, and then your other neighbor comes to your home. It is very interesting how Mexican traditions have developed throughout history by unifying in the syncretic way customs of our early Mexican Indians, the Chinese, the Arabs that came to Spain, the Spanish people that came to Mexico, and then ideas that have come from other places in the world. Have a wonderful celebration of the Day of the Dead. This was a production of the New Americans Museum and Immigration Learning Center in San Diego. We want to thank the City of San Diego for its participation and the Commission for Arts and Cultures of the City of San Diego, the NTC Foundation, and Arts District 1923 Liberty Station. Feliz Día de los Muertos.